Good morning, Sean here, Mountains Garage. I'm fortunate that throughout my day, I get links from friends of mine on potential deals I might be interested in. I'm not sure if they're enablers or they're helping me, but either way, look around, maybe they're helping too much. But don't stop. I was alerted a few weeks ago to some deals on some Sonex forward clutch hubs. The silver one it's a drop-in, no modifications required. There's a thrust washer on either side. The black one takes a bearing. I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but I'm curious today as to how that affects your front end play. So let's do a little non-scientific measuring and see what happens. So here are the part numbers before anybody asks. For the silver drop-in unit, again, you just put a thrust washer on either side of your choice. Stock is a brass on one side, plastic on this side you're looking at. I like to put brass on both sides. Sonex also sells thicker brass ones here to also take up some front end play, but we're not going to cover that today. But they are available if you look it up. Stock is about 60 thousandths, I think, and they make them larger than that. So, the 34322-01, again, 400, tells you everything it fits right there. You can read. Good stuff. I've used a bunch of these. They look exactly like every other brand on the market. I'm not sure where they all come from, but I believe Sonex does manufacture their own. This is the part number for the clutch hub with the bearing. Comes with the bearing. And this one also comes with instructions, alerting you of the need to check your front end play after you install it, areas where you could machine down if you don't have enough clearance, and this is handy, the part numbers of the selective front washers that set your end play that sit on the end of the pump. That's good information. The further you can move the forward clutch drum towards the pump, your sealing rings have a better chance of staying inside the sealing area. You would have to have a lot of end play for the ring to drop out of there, but it's known fact that the closer to the pump this can run, the better off you probably are. So we're looking at my 4L80E drum and my ATI forward clutch drum that is going to go in the 475 I've been talking about building. And if you look at the air gap here, I've measured it and it's about 50 thousandths. And I currently have the silver clutch hub with a brass thrust washer on either side of stock dimension. So I got about 50 thousandths right there. Now I'm going to remove the silver clutch hub, identical to that one that's already installed here. And I'll install the clutch hub with the bearing, and we'll see how much this gap grows, if at all. All swapped over, and now our gap is about 95 thousandths, so we gained about 45 thousandths. The Turbo 400 front selective washer thickness range varies by 68 thousandths from thinnest to thickest. So in theory, what we just gained here, we can deduct here. I have these selective, they even give you the colors. So today we won't know the outcome because I haven't built this TH475 yet, but I'm going to attempt to run the forward clutch hub with the bearing, because the more places you put roller bearings, it's supposed to be better. Old school guys prefer the brass thrust washer because there's no needles that are going to fall out. But I believe these small bearings that are in every transmission have proven themselves that they seldom, if ever, fail. And it's usually the result of some other catastrophic event, so not the bearing itself failing. So I have no fear in that regard. A lot of places where you can install them requires machining, But it's been proven, I believe, with dyno testing that it's probably all worth the effort. So in this particular transmission I'm building for myself, we're not going to that level. You got to leave something out there for the future, right? So in this case, at this point in time, it'll just be a roller bearing in the case on the output shaft and now one on the forward clutch hub. One piece of information that would have been handy on this awesome instruction sheet is they show you a picture of the bearing, but like most of them, there's a silver and a black side. So I had to study the picture, see which way the inner flange pointed. That hole right there is a guide, and it was black side down, which is the same way I installed them in the bottom of the case. It's a different bearing, but you get the idea. If they just would say silver side up or black side down somewhere, it would save you having to study, but maybe it's better that you study the picture for yourself. Maybe they're trying to make you think. One day in the comments on my channel, a guy contacted me. He lives in Michigan. His name is Kevin. And said that he had a two-wheel drive output shaft and tail housing. He knows I'm always looking for him. He only builds four-wheel drive stuff, but he likes watching my channel. And he wanted to send it to me. I offered to buy it. He wouldn't hear of it. He just sent me the stuff. It cost him quite a bit in postage. I got the box yesterday. It has a nice bolt-on yoke output shaft, which I can modify, which you've seen me do in the videos. I'm always looking for tail housings. This one appears to be perfect in original condition. And also an MSD6 ignition box. I mean, that is above and beyond. It's just awesome that it restores your faith in humanity, that there's just kind people out there that want to do things. And he wanted nothing in return. However, I went through my box of Turbo 400 stuff, and I got a four-wheel drive output shaft, and I'm going to send it to him because now I have his address. That's how it works. He wasn't asking for anything. He doesn't even know it's coming. If he sees the video, I guess he will. And if I get any more, I'll do the same. That's just awesome. Thank you, people of the world that are cool. The majority of my hours in the shop every week are spent working on other people's projects and stuff. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, that's where the funds come so I can have my own projects. So you got to make money. You got to make hay while the sun shines, they say. So if there's work to do, I'm doing it. And I can't always film it because sometimes there's time frames or sometimes I have other plans. So in this case, Sunday night, this guy brought me this really nice Reed Case Power Glide out of his single turbo LS Camaro, stock bottom end deal. He was running the Turbo 400 and he swapped over to this, used the same converter and lost the torque converter. And he wasn't quite sure why. I have a theory. I have to talk to him when he comes to pick it up. But anyway, I was under a time crunch, so yesterday I took this all apart, cleaned all the metal out of it. Other than the band being out of adjustment, it's a nice unit. I have a theory on this particular unit. He ran the torque converter in the Turbo 400 he had in the car. He took the torque converter out of that, put it right in the Power Glide, which you can do when you change the input shaft on a Power Glide. But a Power Glide never had a front stator bushing. In a Turbo 400, it's optional. If you leave it out of the Turbo 400, you have to have a bushed turbine in the converter. All Power Glide converters are built like that. Most stall converters are built like that. But if, in this case, it didn't last very long when he put the Glide in the car, I don't know how many runs he's made. Some reason the torque converter let go and put a lot of metal through this transmission. So we'll discuss that with him. And in the future, I'm working on the theory in my head that when you put a Power Glide behind an LS, it doesn't seem to hurt the thrust bearing as often as it does with the Turbo 400, which has the front stator bushing. Without the stator bushing, oil can flow a lot faster. I was going through this Power Glide transmission handbook the other day. This is TSR is actually in New Hampshire, the next state over from me. This is my home track, New England Dragway, pictured on the cover. This book has a copyright of 2001. Now, think about the world of LS swaps and turbocharging and stuff like that. 2001, that engine was only out, came out in 97 in the Camaro and Firebird and Corvette, right? So let's just say we're at the infancy of your typical Turbo 400 LS swap thrust bearing problems in the engine. So here we go. He's discussing oil flow through the converter. Talking about a Turbo 350 and 400 support the input shaft on the front end of the stator support. To accomplish this, a bushing, blah, blah, blah. Aftermarket converters are available. With a Bush turbine, the design is superior as it increases oil flow through the converter and reduces the hydraulic effect on the converter that can lead to engine thrust bearing wear, as discussed in the torque converter. He discusses it again in the actual theory of torque converter. But here's a guy in 2001. They might have had some of the answers. I believe the majority of the LS thrust bearing problems are from the adaptation of the early converter to the late engine using, I've gone over this in several videos. I prefer to weld an extension on the hub and do not run an adapter. So I think that's causing a lot of the problems. The other problem may lie in the front stator bushing and the oil flow through the converter. That gets discussed very seldomly. I'm not saying I'm clearly not on any cutting edge stuff here, because this guy was talking about it in 2001, and probably all the transmission experts that may happen upon this video saying, yeah, I already knew that. So for my own application, I'm going to have a Turbo LS with a Turbo 400 behind it. I might have to rethink that front stator bushing. But if you're hungry for Power Glide content, and I know some people are, this is a 67 Chevelle Power Glide that I paid too much for. I paid $250 for it. It came with everything. The guy unbolted it out of his perfect station wagon. It has all the linkage up to the carburetor that would run the TV pressure and everything. I'm not going to, of course, use any of that stuff, but this is going to be the Glide. I've been saving it for something, and I believe I've mentioned I'm going to LS swap the yellow dot you saw, the 64, because this will allow me to not have to cut up the torsion bar cross member. I think I can slip this right in there along with the front sump oil pan. I believe I'm going to be able to bolt an LS right in there, but we're going to find that out in the future. However, if you're hungry for Power Glide content, I'm going to order parts and build this the way I used to build them in the 80s and 90s. It's not going to have an aftermarket case. It is going to have the normal stuff that I used to put in. I've done hundreds and hundreds of Power Glides, but the one I just showed you that I did yesterday, it's been a long time since I had one apart. Probably 10 years. And I know the same is true for 4L80E content. People want to see me build one. I'm building this one this week, but like everything else, there's also a time crunch involved. I want to build one for myself and take my time. Pausing to shoot a video while I'm doing this one probably isn't going to happen this week because it's got to get done. So that's just reality. I try to work things in when I can, but it's coming in the future. So stay tuned. Also coming soon to a theater near you, project updates. I did a project video a while back. It wasn't super popular, but that happens. I need to go down through the list again, see where we're at. In my head, they're all moving forward all the time. I'm always scanning for stuff that they need. You know, you probably do the same thing. If you have a project cooking in your head, and I couldn't live without that. If I didn't have the wheels turning, always thinking how I want things to be and looking for the right parts to do so, I would go nuts. So clearly I'm nuts, but in a different way because I have lots of projects going on. And I realized to the casual viewer, like I got a question the other day, what happened to the Gold Nova? Well, it's still sitting right there on the left. I need to do the interior. So we'll go over everything. But other than I did get rid of the 47 International that you really never got to see, I'll include some pictures, kind of saying goodbye to it. Who knows, it may come back. You never know. I traded that International for the Dot. Long story. But anyway. It's a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.